The best camera I own is always with me, and that's just my phone. I don't carry a big camera everywhere, I don't carry all the lenses everywhere, but all I have is a phone that goes with me everywhere I go. And over time, cameras have improved on the iPhone very much. And in today's day and age, the computational photography is so good and the hardware in the phones are so good. They don't compare to a full frame camera or a DSLR or mirrorless camera, but they do have the strengths of their own. When you use the same devices that everyone else is using, you fall into a trap where your content looks like everyone else's content and you cannot define yourself. So today I want to talk to you about the apps that I use to make my content look a little bit different, little bit unique, and something that I want to express with myself and my ideas only. And why did I choose this app? Why not others? Because these don't have any subscriptions and some of them are also free. So that's a very good thing. So let's get started. Let's start with the obvious one. The default camera app that comes with your phones and every other iPhone that has ever been produced. So it is very great to pull out your phone, just click and just put it down. You don't have to think too much, and the computational photography takes the heavy lifting from you. I actually have a list of settings that you can enable in your iPhone to click images like me where you don't miss a shot, and it turns on pretty great. But if you want, I can link that Notion page in the description below. But to be honest with you, the default camera app doesn't provide much of the functionalities that iPhones are capable of. And if you use this to make recorded videos, you're definitely gonna look like a mediocre videographer. I'm not saying that you cannot make great videos using this. Yes, you can, but these don't have the special capabilities of other apps that I'm going to show down the line. The default app has a very sharpened look and a very HDR type of look that I really don't want in a cinematic or picture or something like that. So the next app that I'm going to talk about gives you all the settings that your iPhone can ever need. This one is the real deal. The Blackmagic camera app was created by the company Blackmagic, who also makes DaVinci Resolve if you have editor on that, and it also makes cameras. It gives you all the settings that you can ever need, like shutter speed, ISO, and LUT, prologue, codec, audio formats, everything. In fact, Apple themselves have used this app to make their commercials, like the ones you see on the WWDC events, and if they can do it, you can also do it. So I use this app. I have recorded my very own short film on this. If you want to see that, I can link that also below. The only thing this app cannot change is the aperture, and it is not because of the software is bad. It is because iPhones don't have variable aperture. Every app has its pros and cons, and for this, it has a pretty steep learning curve. If you open this app without knowing what you are doing, you can be stuck and even confused most of the time. If I ask somebody to take my video, for instance, and I hand them my phone with this camera app open, they will not know what to do and what to press. Even though I dial the settings, most of the time people say that, oh, your camera is lagging, or I don't know what it is going on. So it is not for everybody. I would love it to be simpler at times, but it needs those complexities to make itself useful and have everything at quick access. But to solve this problem, I use another app. Kino is a very simple app where it lets you change the shutter speed and the ISO, and it lets you record in Apple Log. Apple Log is a feature that comes in the Pro models of the iPhones. You can strip the color profile of Apple and you can add all your own. This is made by a very small team. I got introduced with this app by a YouTuber that I watch called Tyler Stallman. Why I chose to download this app? First, the instant grade option where you can apply the LUT directly on your iPhone. So it saves me time when I'm away. I don't have to pull out my laptop and collaborate there. And it has some pretty great LUTs where Tyler Stallman himself has few great LUTs that have baked into it. But these are all apps when you're clicking videos. What to do when to click photos? Then you use the Movement camera app. I don't use any different camera apps to click pictures, but when I got introduced with Movement, it was pretty good because one special feature, the national processing. Imagine your photos being clicked. When you click, the Apple does a lot of stuff behind it to make your photos look good and look the way they are. They lift up the shadows, they'll bring down the highlights, they make an HDR and sharpened look, they do a lot of noise reduction. But these all create a very computational and very fake look that comes, and when you look back to the scene, it doesn't look the same as it was. They have reduced the most of the steps that Apple takes in order to process the images, and they give you something raw from the sensor. It's like the ProRes RAW of pictures, but in natural without HDR and something like that. It just looked like something like a digicam or a film camera, and I really like the look. I want to get my hands on a digicam, but I don't find them very much in my area, and some of them are asking a way much price for a very shitty camera that I will not use. I know I will not use. So this is the next best thing, and the app camera is a little bit pricey, like it's $10 or $9, but it works. It can give you the access to click pictures in manual mode. So what else you can ask for? I have mapped this camera onto the action button on my phone. So whenever I click the action button, I know what camera that I am going to use, and I just click the damn picture. Also, I can import my LUTs into it, and that also skips the editing process of Lightroom, where I don't have to color grade the images. And I have imported all of them so that whenever I'm clicking the picture, I can import that as a filter and just change the filter and click the image and just post it on my story. It does most of the heavy lifting, and when I do need Lightroom, I use my Android phone. So put it simply, if you want a quick run and gun picture, you can use your default camera. If you want a professional setup to record videos, use external SSDs and everything else, you can use the Blackmagic camera app. But if you want something simpler to record videos with great color grading LUTs, you can use the Kino app, and that is pretty cheap, and it has a perpetual license, and they will give you all the updates. And if you want great photos like that look like these, use the movement camera app. If you want any of the LUTs and if you want any of the settings that I use, I will list that all in the description below in the Notion page, and you can get that pretty easily.